podcast is presented by 323 Entertainment. You can find this show and more wherever you stream podcasts and music. And while you're there, please follow, rate, and review. And if you want to help us continue to grow and get better while also getting exclusive releases and free merch, please support the 323 on Patreon at patreon.com/323read. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Travis Byram is back. Mr. B himself, our resident 323 movie expert. It's good to see you, buddy.
Glad to be back, man.
I don't have the usual intro music for you, so imagine right now in your head, and in post-production, we'll probably have like some Pusha T or something to introduce you. It'll be your new, like your fight theme, your fight anthem coming down.
I love that original theme song you had for me. Every time I entered a room, I played it.
I just need to have like an actual soundboard attached to your hip so that you can play. Well, I'm glad that you're here today. You have to be here today because as a movie expert, this is one of the biggest days. This is like almost Christmas. I think, what's more exciting to you? Oscar nomination announcement day or Oscar evening when the winners are announced? Because there's something giddy and joyful about watching the announcements.
It's absolutely. I've thought about this a lot through the years, which kind of tells you everything you need to know about me. But Oscar nominations, the possibilities are just wide open. And then you get surprised, and then you get to cheer and jeer on with your thumbs online. Oscar Day itself is super exciting because it cements everything. But I'm actually gonna go with Oscar nominations because it's Christmas Eve. It's
Right.
Think of all the presents that we're gonna get, and then Oscar Day is like Christmas, where it's like, oh, this is great, and then it's like, well, now what do I do with the other 10 months of my life?
It does suck. Yeah, it does just kind of like it draws you out once it's all
Yeah,
over. I love this whole time of year and this season because we're big movie nerds. We're
yeah.
huge movie nerds, but it's something to be proud of. So, okay, let's just get into it. The nominations are out now. We'll go over the we'll go try to go over each of the big categories themselves and just thoughts on that. But before we do that, your thoughts from everything outside of like animated feature down, from animated feature, score, song, all the other categories. What are your thoughts?
Well, absolute all quiet on the Western Front domination of the technical categories. I mean, if it hadn't been for the BAFTAs, which nominated it for best film and basically everything under the sun that it could have been nominated for, I would have been completely bowled over by it. It wasn't a huge player in the SAGs or the Globes or even Critics' Choice necessarily. I thought of the two, the big international nominee would be Triple R, the Hindi movie. Uh, People loved that, so I was bowled over by it. I think it's really good. I don't think it touches the original, but I think it's a really solid remake. Always a great message to have. Loved seeing Batman on here a few times. I feel like it may have gotten forgotten a little bit since
Yeah,
it debuted so early, back in March. But I would love to see Best Makeup because my mom watched the Batman, and I said, "How do you think Colin Farrell did?" And she said, "He wasn't in the movie." So I think that's just a testament to that. Glad to see Top Gun cleaning up in there. I was really happy with that. And for original song was posed to be like a Coachella lineup. We
yeah.
had I was thinking The Weeknd, Taylor Swift, and then we did get Gaga. We did get Rihanna in her comeback.
Oh, Riri.
Um, I the only nomination that I actively hated was the Diane Warren song. And for anyone listening who doesn't know, Diane Warren has been nominated literally 512 times.
Yep.
And they keep cuckolding her and inviting her onto the stage only to watch her lose. I think seriously, I think this might be her 20 or 21st. And
I
it's
think
like,
so. Yeah.
don't play with her. Rihanna's gonna win this, and she's gonna watch from the stands. I felt so bad for her. It's like Glenn Close.
Are you sure that Rihanna's going to win? Because the Golden Globe surprised me when Natu Natu from RRR or Triple R won.
And don't get me wrong, Natu is a bop.
Yeah.
I just think, especially with this being not only a genuinely good song, but her comeback song, like after 6 years of nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Rihanna. I think it's her time. But yeah, I was happy to see her in there. Mitski got a nomination. Lady Gaga again got another nomination. No Taylor Swift. No Taylor Swift.
The
All too
Academy's not
well,
Swifties.
not Swifties. These 85-year-old men who vote. Um, and all too well, her music video was eligible for best live action short film, and it didn't even make the long list. They said no, shake it off.
Oh. Hold
Yeah,
on, hold
man.
on. Could you hear that?
Yeah, I heard
Oh, okay. I can't hear
it.
it. I'll hear it somewhere. But yeah, no, I guess people just haven't, maybe they're not Swifties or they're trying to get away from it ever since, Cats. Since
Well,
she didn't get a nomination for Cats, how can we ever expect her to get a nomination anywhere else?
that's a good point, man. I wouldn't say I forgot. I would say I'd been kind of forcing it down out of my subconscious that she was in Cats. But yeah, that if anything's gonna be held against you, it's Cats.
So I'm glad you also brought up the Batman because real quick on that, do you feel like me if that had come out in let's say October or November, that could have been a much bigger player here at the Oscars? Because I agree with you. I think it got forgotten. It was one that we talked up a lot when it first came out. If it had come out in like October, November, I could have seen it sneaking into Best Picture.
I honestly could have, man. It was that good to me. It was almost on par with The Dark Knight with how much I was invested. Usually, when they do all those villains, it gets muddy. They had perfect time for everyone. Everyone got a chance to shine. I could have seen Colin Farrell doing a double nomination with The Penguin, Paul Dano sneaking in there. I mean, I agree. I think I saw it like March 1st, and unless you've got the massive hype train that Everything Everywhere did, and I just saw, I was looking on my letterboxd, I saw it April 4th. Springtime, it's like the Oscars don't even acknowledge springtime. It's
No.
fall and
Uh-uh.
winter.
Which is
So
impressive. That's very impressive about everything everywhere all at once, racking up 11 nominations. And still like it's been heating up and I think getting bigger ever since its debut in May.
absolutely. Yeah. People just getting it on DVD, watching it on demand, more and more and more people finding out about it and loving it, except if you're my mom and uncle who hated it and didn't understand what was going on. But it was yeah, I was so happy.
Or you're
I
like me and just still haven't seen it. I still have managed to not see it because I haven't been able to find it on streaming easily.
I think the people need a live reaction from you, Reed, when you
We
watch Everything Everywhere all at once.
we should do that. We should do a live viewing of the movie. We should just start doing live viewings of movies. Who's going to stop us? Nobody's watching. Nobody's watching for it right now. So.
Right. Yeah, man. I hope you love it. And speaking of below the line stuff, the fact that it got um let me double check on this. It got best original song.
Hmm.
It got best score, which it was totally not in contention for at all. It really, I mean, it overperformed is an understatement. And then of course with 4 acting nominations, holy moly!
And all seem very well deserved. Well,
Yeah,
let's get into that onto that level of the nominations. Now we'll start with screenplays, both original and adapted. Your thoughts there? You happy with any? Are there any big surprises? Because I was a little bit surprised to see Top Gun Maverick sneak into original screen or into adapted screenplay.
absolutely, man. That was, and I feel so dumb, but when because back in like November, I predicted that it was up for it, that it would be up for it, and I changed it. It's like, oh, it's not gonna. Because one of the guys, I think his name is Aaron Kruger, I saw on Twitter. He wrote all of the Transformers movies. Uh, is this not the biggest redemption arc of all time for him? Getting an
That's a
Oscar
top.
nomination.
That's a top five we have to do in the future. Top five film redemptions.
Yeah, to me this was a pretty safe bunch. That was easily the biggest surprise. Not mad at it either. Not mad at it either. All Quiet on the Western Front too. That won the National Board of Review Best Adapted Screenplay. So that had been on my radar. It's hard for non-English scripts to break into the Oscars. So
Hmm.
I was happy to see that. And original screenplay was kind of everything that I was expecting. But do you know anything about Living? I am not convinced that it's a real movie.
I, for the first time, looked at its Wikipedia page and saw like the poster for it, and I can confirm it's a real movie. It's a real movie. I just don't know anything about it. I just know that Bill Nighy gives apparently a very joyous performance in it.
I I can't find. I've scoured the ends of the earth to find someone who's actually seen it, but I am happy for Bill. Long overdue, and yeah, more power to it. I'll believe it when I see it.
The All Quiet on the Western Front love really kind of caught me off guard because one, it's something that I haven't thought about since freshman year English class of honors English, reading this long ass story and just how brutal it could get in the middle of it. And then I heard that they were doing a new adaptation for it somewhere around the fall time, and I didn't expect it to get this much love and really take off at the Oscars like this. But I don't know. Do you feel like it could be maybe a surprise player in any of these big categories?
Yeah, I think it just getting the nomination for Best Picture is the win in and of itself, you know. But yeah, I could see it. Well, oh, forgot to mention Top Gun Maverick's surprise absence in cinematography.
Yeah,
If it was going to win anything, uh, I think every pundit agreed it was going to be the winner. Without that, it's wide open. So I think there's a good case for All Quiet of winning that. It's beautifully shot.
I was a little disappointed in Top Gun and the Batman. Again, kind of getting
Yeah.
forgotten about. I thought the Batman would have been a great pickup for cinematography. Instead, there was like, I think it was Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths, and Empire of Light that were the ones that snuck in there with All Quiet, Elvis, and Tar.
Yeah, Empire of Light. I was like, why is this getting so much? And it's Roger Deakins, who is, a
Well,
veteran, couple time over winner. Um, yeah, it's I'd say of all the below the line, I was most disappointed by that. I'd
yeah,
say, yeah.
yeah. Well, on to let's get into acting
Ooh,
nominations here. So we're going to start in supporting actress. Our nominees this year: Angela Bassett, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, the Queen, obviously. Hong Chow for The Whale. Carrie Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, which I've finally gotten that name down. Finally been able to pronounce it correctly. Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Stephanie Sue. Is that
I
how
think
we
shoe like
Shu,
the
Stephanie Shu,
footwear.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. Been hearing nothing but great things about her in that movie. And Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm very happy for Jamie Lee Curtis finally getting some big recognition. It's been a big year for her, ending the Halloween franchise and then with one of the shittiest iterations for that series, but finishing it
Really?
strong with this. Oh, it was rough. It was rough. Went out with a whimper. But very happy for those two. I'm very happy for Carrie Condon because I absolutely loved her in Banshees. I loved her character. She brought so much sympathy. Hong Chow. I haven't seen The Whale, but I got great artist, great actress. I just watched The Menu last night for the first time, and I want to get into that a little bit before we get you out of here. But Hong Chow, I can see where all this love's coming for, and Angela Bassett. Again,
Long live the queen.
long live the queen. Josh Cole, that's Josh Cole's queen. Whenever he comes on here, he's done great impersonations of her. I
I'd love to hear that.
I feel like I want to think that she's going to be a lock for the win, but the SAGs will probably be the deciding factor. I know Condon's, gotten in there a little bit and snuck in there, and who knows with all this everything everywhere all at once love that Stephanie Shu maybe could slide, but Angela Bassett at the moment to me is the lock, and this would be huge for all of us Marvel nerds, like the ones here on this show, that this is not only Marvel's first acting nomination for an MCU feature, but it could also be their second to third Oscar entirely after Black Panther's original win for costume designs.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I was so glad because it's evolved from, oh, wouldn't it be neat if Angela Bassett got nominated for Black Panther, to, oh, Angela Bassett is going to win for Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone's particularly coming close. I think the Everything Everywhere girls are going to cancel each other out. If anyone's going to give her a run for her money, I guess it's Carrie Condon because Banshee's got so much love, but she hasn't really been picking anything up. I think the red carpet is rolled out to the stage for Angela Bassett. I will be so excited to see that win. I have seen Hong Chow in The Whale. I thought to myself as I was leaving, man, I know she won't get nominated, but what a great performance. And here it is. I think you could also argue she should have been nominated for The Menu.
I could argue that. I could argue a lot for the menu.
She was hilarious in that. But my favorite nomination of the entire day was Stephanie Shu. Jamie Lee Curtis has just been just steamrolling her as far as her being the supporting actress getting nominated. It makes sense. She's an all-timer nepo baby. It had to come eventually.
Gotta
But
love those
Stephanie
Activia commercials.
should have been nominated for that, honestly, for best shitter. But Stephanie Shu getting up here, it just makes me so happy. Once you see it, she plays an intergalactic villain and the daughter of Michelle Yeoh, and she's just hilarious and perfect and heartbreaking in it. In a just world, I would love to see her win, but don't want to take anything away from the queen.
That's true. That's true. And so every year at the Oscars, it seems like the supporting categories are going to be like they're the strong contenders for a lock. And every year we're seeing these locks. So we have Angela Bassett there, supporting actress. I think we can argue in supporting actor too that one's pretty locked up. So
Yeah.
our nominees there: Brendan Gleeson for the Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry for the A24 film Causeway. Haven't seen that yet, but I was so
Love
happy when I
that.
saw him in the trailer for it. I was like, oh, big movie for old Paperboy. And now we have an Oscar nominee for him. Judd Hirsch for The Fablemans. Very happy to see that. I love Judd Hirsch. Loved him
Love
since
that.
those old reruns of Taxi. Barry Keoghan for The Banshees of Inisherin. Heartbreaking
Yes.
performance, but also just a lovely, funny performance by him.
Yes.
And The Lock this year. And a great story. Ke Huy Quan, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Well, you might remember him as Short Round in the Indiana Jones movies. He was also in the Goonies. Hasn't really had a major performance in what, like 40 years or so, 30, 40
Long
years.
time, man.
He was doing fight and stunt coordinating on the original X-Men movie, and that's like been That's been like it since now. And now you look at him, he's been discovered again by Hollywood, found by Hollywood, and is likely to pick up his first Oscar win along with this first nomination.
And I think you would probably know this better than me, but I think they got him on Loki season 2.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they managed to
I'm
pick up
pretty
on that
sure.
momentum.
And he did mostly, for anyone who's seen it, he did mostly his own stunts. I think he'd be a great addition into any action superhero franchise.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this one they should already, they should really just mail it to him at this point. I don't think anyone on the internet wants anyone else to win.
No.
He's got the perfect combination of the role was genuinely good. He was actually a supporting actor and not a lead actor in disguise. And he's got an incredible redemption arc that you mentioned. I adored him growing up, Data in the Goonies. So it is so rewarding to see him just, again, to use this word, steamrolling award season. And his win, I think, is going to be one of the all-time, maybe even top 10 wins in the category.
Yep. I'm excited to see him accept. I'm excited to see that.
Yes.
Going to best lead. Let's go to lead actor. I want to go to
Woo!
lead actor because there's not too much of a surprise here. We do have a three-way battle going, but
Yes.
nominees this year: Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Paul Mescal for After Sun, and Bill Nighy for Living. All first-time nominees. Not a single winner. Not a
Love
single
that.
winner. Not a single nominee in there, which is insane for Colin Farrell to me. It's crazy to think that Colin Farrell's never had a nomination. It's crazy to think that Bill
Really.
Nighy has never had a nomination. Brendan Fraser, this is the big, it's like the Matthew McConaughey for him, the Fraser sense, which
Yes.
I didn't realize that we apparently have been pronouncing his name wrong all this time. It's apparently
Yeah.
Fraser, not Frazier, which I think he's wrong. I don't think he's been pronouncing. I think he's mispronouncing his own name. I think it's Fraser. Make
We're
it a
right.
Z. If it's Fraser, it should be a Z. I'm just going. I don't know.
You're
But
right.
Paul Mescal seemed to be the big surprise. It could have been. There was a lot of names being thrown around for that fifth spot outside of,
Yes.
yeah. So your thoughts on this category? Your thoughts on who's ultimately going to win? Because right now we're seeing a battle between Butler, Farrell, and Fraser. A little bit of Fraser.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, First off, I love the fact you're right. In recent years, it's been more of a competition for actor and actress, and supporting is a little more usually pretty locked in. Um, I loved Paul Mescal and I loved Paul Mescal's nomination for After Sun. I have not seen After Sun. I've heard it been talked about all over award season as one of the best movies of the year. I think he's maybe, if not as old as us, younger than us.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's getting this so young, and there's no chance he's going to win, like he's got way too much competition. But
Right.
the fact that he won't win, and this will just boost his profile immensely. I love that. Um, I loved Butler, Farrell, and Brendan.
Brendan.
And I honestly can't choose which one. Colin Farrell is long overdue. Brendan Fraser, no one ever thought he'd get nominated. I think the last thing I remember him in was that Furry Vengeance, where a raccoon bites his scrotum or something. And and his redemption arc too, especially after being sexually assaulted, is just phenomenal, and the role itself is great. But then Austin Butler, you watch Elvis and you're like, give this man 5 Oscars. Like he did a phenomenal job. He did what I think Rami Malek was trying to do in Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, it's
it seems
phenomenal.
it seems like he is latched onto the Elvis persona too. Because any interview I've seen from him, he still sounds like Elvis.
Like, oh, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hope I don't shit and die on a toilet. I haven't finished Elvis, so I guess spoiler alert for anybody. But does he die? Did they show him die on the
Spoiler
toilet, or
alert,
do we
Elvis
just
died.
he died? I mean, I mean, that's public knowledge. But
No, they did a really good job of being respectful about his end. The movie kind of ends with him, he's just on a really bad way. He's got 30 prescription drugs in his body. And then they kind of cut away to a title card that's like Elvis died later, yada, yada, yada. So I was so worried Baz Luhrmann was going to show him slumped on the toilet. And then Tom Hanks with his clump makeup comes in. Are you okay, Enzel? Are you okay? And then they open the stall and Elvis is dead. No, I mean, I would not be angry at any of those three winning, honestly.
exciting, exciting, and on to lead actress. Which
Ooh,
curious to hear your thoughts here. We had some surprise nominees just out of some of the ones that didn't get nominated that I was seeing because I put them in my predictions. I haven't seen Till, but I put Danielle Deadweiler in there because I
yeah.
just kept seeing all the love for it. She didn't get a nomination. Viola Davis did not get nominated for The Woman King. I kept seeing talk about her. But now seeing the list, I'm not that surprised by the ones that made it in. So we
Yeah.
have Kate Blanchett for Tar. Kate Blanchett always getting nomination. I mean, she's
Always.
always killing it. Ana de Armas. Oh, my heart. Ana de Armas
What a
for
one.
playing Marilyn Monroe in Blonde.
Mhm.
That was a controversial movie in and of itself. I'm surprised it got a nomination at all, but it seems deserved for her from what I'm seeing from the Ana de Armas stands on Twitter.
Right.
It's
Right.
hardcore. Andrea Riseborough for the film To Leslie, which I want to get. I want to get into the campaigning for that.
Bro.
Michelle Williams for The Fablemans, who I know that you have thoughts on, and,
I have beef.
and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. She seems like the favorite for this, but let's get into some of these. So, you want to
Yeah.
go with Michelle Williams and The Fablemans first, or Andrea Riseborough?
Let's get the Michelle, because I hate to be negative on this joyous day, and I think this is her fourth or fifth Oscar nomination. So
Always getting them.
love Michelle, love her to death. But and maybe it's just the character. I know the character in The Fablemans is like representative of Spielberg's real mom. Obviously, she had some mental issues.
A little bit.
Like we were talking about over text when you saw it, you were like, it kind of reminded you said of Judy Garland in the
Mm-hmm.
50s, and I wanted to get that vibe, but like straight up Michelle Williams ruined the movie for me. She kind of, I know you can't see my face, but she kind of she just kind of, it's, oh, this is such a mean thing to say, but it's clownish to me. That's how I came off. I mean, she looks crazy in it with that little uh who's the kid from the oatmeal commercial, berries and cream.
Oh.
She's got the berries and cream haircut.
Berries and cream.
It's
Berries and cream. Oh, I love the berries and cream. I haven't thought about that in years.
the whole thing threw me. I knew she was gonna get nominated because it's such Oscar bait. You can just see the fish, the Oscar fish in her mouth. And when you reel it up, Michelle Williams is there on the other end of the line. So not crazy about that. I am heavily rooting for the other Michelle. Kate Blanchett has two trophies for the
Yeah.
Critics' Choice Awards. When she won, she got up and was like, "Hey, this is a patriarchal meat race. Like, why did they have to have us?" And it's like, okay, pick a lane. Say that it's not great, but don't show up and then be like, "Yeah, this is dumb. I'm gonna take my trophy though." That really turned me off. That was super hypocritical.
I
So I think Michelle Yao's got the edge, man.
I love with the 323 awards coming up soon that has got to be a lock for a nomination for best impersonation is Travis's Kate Blanchett. Hey, I just want to thank you for this award.
I need an Oscar for that.
and you're Judy Garland because thankfully, hopefully, if everything goes right, this is a visual episode or a visual segment, so we should make it on. So your Judy Garland face impressions, your Judy Garland Michelle Williams impression there could definitely make it. I agree to a degree on Michelle Williams. I completely see what you meant. Like as I was watching it, I'm glad that you told me that before I saw the movie because I was kind of watching for it. But
Hmm.
what made me fall in love with the performance were like the subtle moments. There were some subtle moments in there where she just had it. You could read it on her face. The
Right.
moments where like she falls out of the closet and everything and doing the dance. Like I totally see the clown moves there in very old Hollywood. But I enjoyed that part of the performance. To me, that kind of won me over on there. Michelle Yao, I'm very excited if she does pull this off and wins this. I'm very excited for her.
Yes.
She's such a great actor. Andrea Riseborough caught
Bro,
everybody really off guard, and I was so close to putting her on my predictions yesterday
really?
just because I saw a tweet about how Jennifer Aniston and so many of these other big time actors, Edward Norton, all of these people campaigning for that movie to Leslie, and apparently were like doing screenings of it at their homes, and were hyping up her in particular,
No,
and talking about
really?
how great her performance was, and it worked. Like this all just started like
Wow.
2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago or so, that they're
No
like
kidding.
really hyping this up. And so I read what the movie was about. I didn't know what To Leslie was about. It's about a recovering addict of this woman who's been a drug addict for a long time, and now she's trying to, you know, get back on the path and get her life back together. And I've been seeing nothing but great things about this performance, and I'm kind of wondering now that she's snuck in, and the story's out there, and the hype and the campaign is surrounding. I wonder if she could sneak in and win. I haven't seen the movie, but I wonder if she
Oh,
could sneak in out of nowhere and win this award. I think that's one to watch really closely.
you know what? That's an interesting way of looking at it because for all awards season, it has been nothing but Yo versus Blanchett, Yo versus Blanchett.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you could have knocked me over after they said Andrea Riseborough's name. That is awesome that you knew all that information. I knew absolutely none of it. I knew, here's what I knew. I knew Andrea Riseborough existed.
Yeah.
That's it. I did not know To Leslie was a movie. I did not know she was in the conversation at all. I haven't seen her in no precursors to my knowledge.
Mm-mm.
It was as if I don't know, they the last time this happened was in supporting actress in 2018. Oh, I can't remember her name. I'm so sorry wherever you are in Mexico, but it was
Oh,
Marina de something.
yeah.
Got a totally left field supporting actress nom for Roma. But even then, like I had seen that and I knew, I knew that was a good performance. To Leslie, uh, definitely one of the biggest Oscar morning shocks I've ever had.
Marina de Tavira.
Thank you.
Yeah. 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 It's funny how these things can just come out of nowhere and then just wallop us over the face like a fish, like
I
the
kind of
fish that was
wanted
in Michelle Williams' mouth.
oh I I kind of wanted to touch on this real quick, not to be a bummer about it. I was all for Viola Davis getting in. Did you see Woman King?
I did not see it, but I've known
Neither.
a lot of people that have. Yeah.
I was all for that. It seemed like a really powerful role, something Viola Davis would crush. I was really, I hate to say this, but I was really split on them nominating Danielle Deadweiler because I'd heard phenomenal things about her. I just hate that when Oscar nominates a black actress, mostly in lead actress, which is super rare already, it has to be a black trauma film.
Yep.
So it was kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't, because it's like give her her flowers, but also, of course, you would nominate this. It's very typical. So I think she's gotten a lot of love. I know she was just up for the BAFTA. She was up for, I want to say she was also up for the Globe, maybe. I know she's up for SAG. So I think she's still done very well this season.
And I like that you said that too, because if Danielle Deadweiler, who seems to be great in that movie, I'm sure she is, especially based on what the story is. If she had been nominated over, say, Viola Davis for The Woman King,
Mm,
and in terms of what those two stories are, one is Black trauma, one is Black power,
right.
and the rise of a story that we haven't really heard that much of. If she had been able to get the nomination over Viola Davis, like it was like some like black actress
Uh,
slot or something in that category, that would have disappointed me a little further because it would have continued to show that's what we get nominated for is black trauma. We get nominated for that. Instead, we have Angela Bassett as a literal queen in
yes.
supporting actress, and then lead actress. They were like, "Fuck it, you don't get either of them," and we'll go with Andrea Riseborough. Here's this white lady
Yeah.
to confuse you for a little bit. It's a great stack of nominees, no matter what. Not to take
Yes.
anything away from anybody. This is going to be
Yes.
a really, really fun competition. On to the last two real quickly. We have Best Director. So we have Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin.
Woo.
The Daniels, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Steven Spielberg for The Fablemans. Todd Field for Tar. And Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness, which I just read up about yesterday, being
Yes.
like it's some type of like cruise or yacht of rich people getting
Uh-huh.
lost at sea.
It's
Uh,
fun.
what are your thoughts on this? Are we seeing like a lock for Spielberg maybe for director? I'm not sure here.
You know, when I was watching the Globes and after his speech and all, it would make total sense, and I'd be happy for him if it won the Fablemans, especially since this isn't Indiana Jones 6. This isn't another sequel. This is like his baby,
Yep.
and I love that he's getting rewarded for putting his baby into the world. If it were up to me, the Daniels would have won Everything Under the Sun. I don't think you can make a movie like that without directors like that. They won Critics' Choice for Best Director. So it's really, we're going to have to see what BAFTA does. They might go with Martin McDonagh because he's Irish.
Hmm. And they're
Um,
they're very Irish heavy this year.
that's true. Lots of Irish folks. So yeah, I would not call it a done race. I think we also need to see what DGA does for the Directors Guild. I was happy with everything, and I was super happy because I picked Ruben Ostlund as like a left field pick for my own predictions. And it's a great movie he directed. It does a really tricky thing of being really mean satire and hilarious comedy, and also just really interesting human drama. So yeah, I'm really happy with that list, man.
I'll be curious to see what the final is again. I need to see Everything Everywhere All at Once. I need to see that before because right now I've seen Fablemans and Banshees in terms of those five nominees.
Mm,
Um, Banshees was beautifully directed by
gorgeous.
McDonagh. I typically love anything that McDonagh does between that and Bruise and Three Billboards, Seven Psychopaths, a lot of numbers to his
Does no
things.
wrong.
No, but Spielberg for Fablemans, not only a passion project, and I'm glad that the nominations are coming in for him here with this, but typically a lot of times with movies about cinema and the history of movies, that you're going to get the talk for nominations. Oscars are going to love it because it's just about movies and it's just kissing its own ass. This one in particular, I I felt differently in terms of something like a La La Land or Babylon, that
Sure.
he had true passion and love put into this movie. It wasn't so much about him and the history of movies and the importance of movies, but more about just why they're important to us and
Sure.
that they are an escape for us from life's troubles and all. So that leads me into Best Picture and
Woo!
why it's the Fablemans is my front runner, my personal pick right now. But
Sure.
in terms of all the nominees, we have 10 nominations this year, all quiet on the Western Front, which will give fanfare for these. Avatar: The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The
Woo!
Fablemans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking,
Woo!
which I was actually kind of expecting to see a little more love for Women Talking, at least for Sarah. I kind of thought for some reason that Sarah Polley would get a Best Director nomination for that.
Sure.
But your thoughts on Best Picture? Any surprises? Any disappointments? Your favorite to win here?
Yeah, man. I love the variety that we get. We get a couple sci-fis, we get some war. They only did one biopic. Can
I
you imagine
know
the
that's
Oscars
crazy.
just doing one? You get, some auteur projects here from Spielberg, McDonough. You get something way out of left field like Triangle of Sadness. Super happy. None that I dislike. I wasn't crazy about Avatar's story. I think I think it's a great movie to watch on mute, maybe. But
Just a
that being
background
said,
movie.
yeah, the experience itself is, first rate. Really surprised. Twitter on film Twitter, there's so much sadness for Women Talking, which is the only movie I haven't seen in the lineup. But people really thought it was going to perform. Polly's been kind of a staple in adapted screenplay, and she's actually my front runner right now for screenplay. But the fact that it took that 10th slot, I was wondering if it was going to be triple R. I wanted it was going to be the whale. I there were a few ones that could have taken it, but I'm glad that it got it. It's been really pushed aside all award season, so I really look forward to watching it.
I'm happy for pretty much all of these nominations. I'm loving all of it. I'm very happy for Top Gun Maverick. I'm very happy that it
Oh
managed to
yeah,
stay and
man.
slide in there because not only was it super important to film this year and to the history of film, if you're counting
Oh yeah,
2022, and how it really revived the box office for people outside of the superhero genre, but it was also a damn good movie. It was a very fun, entertaining, just really legitimately good film. So
yeah.
curious to see how it does in the campaigning front. I do think Fablemans will take it, but we're gonna have to see. I don't know. A lot of love for All Quiet. Banshees of Inisherin, I think, could slyly sneak in there
Absolutely.
and take this. You never know. Sometimes it can be just a throw a dart and you'll figure it out. All great nominees. These are all movies to recommend that we say that you all should see. Everybody watching, go check out these movies. These aren't,
Please.
necessarily boring movies. The typical slate Oscar did very good this year with their nominees. Um, Real quick before I get you out of here, like I brought it up, we don't have a review necessarily, but I do have a recommendation and a co-review with you here.
Oh,
The Menu, this movie, The Menu. It's on. You can watch it on HBO Max. It's streaming there right now. Stars Ray Fiennes and Anya Taylor Joy, Hong Chow that we mentioned earlier. It's listed as a horror comedy, and I guess I can see the horror. I guess I can see the horror aspect of it, but it's definitely just a dark comedy, dark comedy. Brilliant movie. Did not get any love at all from the Oscars, which I'm
no.
I'm very surprised about, honestly. But God, I recommend this movie highly to you all. Ray Fiennes is incredible in it. It is a wonderfully dark story. Um, and Anya Taylor Joy, it made me really like her more. I haven't been on the Anya Taylor Joy train really
Really?
necessarily. I haven't seen her in too much, honestly. Like I haven't seen Queen's Gambit, but this movie
Oh,
sealed the deal for me. She was a great lead in
it's
this.
lovely.
Yes. So thank you for recommending that so highly. I think that was that your number one movie for the year?
Absolutely, man. It was number two, right behind Everything Everywhere. I had the best theater experience of the year. I was completely alone in an Amstar. I don't know if anyone else has ever gone to an Amstar. Completely alone, uh, screaming and laughing as the events unfolded. Was not bored for a single second. I knew if it had any shot with the Oscars, it was screenplay, and I personally would swap out Triangle of Sadness for The Menu. They're pretty similar films, kind of a send up of the rich. But yeah, please see The Menu. And real quick, I have to thank you because I completely was not on the Top Gun train. When it was announced, my eyes could not have rolled further back in my head. Reed texted me and was like, "Bro, best movie of the year by far." I was like, I guess I gotta see it. And I saw that. That was different. I saw that alone because I watched it about 3 months after it came out. Still playing. I think it's still playing
I think so.
in my
Yeah.
local Regal. Like it's bananas.
They will
Uh,
not take it out of theaters. No.
they refuse.
And they
Uh,
shouldn't. It should. I think it's a movie that should be in theaters perpetually till the end of time. I think
yeah, man. No, it was a lot of fun. Big regret. I wish I didn't see it like first week with a crowd full of people and a bunch of dads with mullets going, "Woo, yeah, brother," the whole time. But yeah, thank you, man.
that movie, it's going to stay in theaters because they're trying to break every record. They're trying to make that Biden money.
Over $1,200,200,000,000,000.
They're trying to make it all. They're trying to get it all. Travis Byram, thank you for being here, buddy. Always great to see you. Biggest snub of the year, real quick. Morbius. We had no Morbius love at this thing. Fucking Razzies decided to. I don't know. I don't know what Hollywood's thinking. I don't know what these people are thinking. Morbius, best movie of the year. It's Morbin time, but not at the Oscars. God damn them. Travis, thanks for being here, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man.
Love you, Mr. B.